Okay. Hey, welcome back, Padawans. Today, I just really wanted to break down some of the planets that we think we saw in the Mandalorian season 2 trailer, and I'm going to give you some evidence and some background from some different canon material just to kind of get the thoughts flowing and the theories going. Obviously, all of this we'll find out in the actual season. But without further ado, let's jump in. All right, let's get the trailer pulled up. We're going to take a quick look at some of the planets that I think we can identify. Obviously, we're going to get Tatooine and Navarro, where most of the bounty hunter stuff took place in season 1, but a few other ones. So let's get the trailer pulled up here, and we'll go over some stuff from some other canon. All right, where are we? There it is. All right. So right off the bat, here's planet number 1, okay? I'll play it through a little bit here, but we have this gas giant here with this nice, pretty blue and green Earth-like planet in the background, right? So we'll pause it right here before the Razor Crest gets in the way. I really think this is a possibility, a strong possibility that this is Endor, which is the gas giant that the forest moon that we know and call Endor actually orbits. There's a bunch of moons. I think there's like 9. But this very much could be Endor for obvious reasons. Blue and green, right? Simple. It's pretty far away, so we're not really going to see the debris field from here of the Death Star 2. And we can't make out any real land masses or anything. But comparatively to what we've seen in a lot of other canon, this could easily be the forest moon of Endor. We really haven't seen the gas giant Endor in a lot of material, but I saw something the other day when I was playing, and I was like, I was trying to think of times in video games or comics like we've seen Endor, the forest moon of Endor, and then have we ever like flown in? And the thing I came up with is actually in Battlefront 2, there's a starfighter mission that takes place kind of in the debris field of the Death Star 2, and I was like, I wonder if you can see the gas giant. So I pulled it up. I got some quick gameplay footage today just to give us a look. So let's switch this over so you can see. Okay, perfect. Let me blow this up for us. Okay, so right off the bat, the one big thing I noticed, and playing, I'll just kind of play the clip. I'm flying around here. But so in this mission, you're fighting in the debris field of the Death Star above the forest moon of Endor, and I just kind of try to zoom in because this is Endor. This is the gas giant. Okay, this is the best depiction I can think of comparing it to what they're going to do in live action. It looks remarkably similar to me, gas giant wise. You can see the striations. Okay, main difference being color. Okay, from here, very much a lot more blues. In game, I don't know how well you can see on this screen, but in game there is some like kind of this murky green color over here, and it looks like up here could be distortion on the edges. Obviously, we're pretty far away. As in right here, we're like right up against it. But all these swirling patterns, I know gas giants, right? I'm just trying to kind of bring up some different points, but this has me relatively convinced, especially with this shot as we're seeing what I think is the forest moon of Endor there. And sorry, let's pull that back up. All right. So you can see it's a tad bit more green. We do have some blues up here, but that could be kind of like the atmosphere that we see in some of the planets. But I really think this is a really good guess and really good background information on what we've seen before in recent canon material in Battlefront. Again, looks a lot bluer here. As you play through it, there are some greens over here and up there. So it very well could be different colors. I mean, you've seen Jupiter. It has a bunch of different colors in it, a lot of tans and stuff. So this one was very interesting to me. All right. So let's play it through. So that's basically what I got there. And really, when we're talking about like theorizing, why would they go to Endor? If the Mandalorian is looking for anything to do with the Jedi, okay, and he's going to get little hints or whatnot. We know he's kind of going to be involved with X-Wings, which could mean the Republic, probably means the Republic. If he's reaching out for help, big battle there. Luke Skywalker was known to be there. If he gets hints that Luke Skywalker was a Jedi, I know that was out there. I know a lot of people in the canon, like different people, didn't really believe he was a Jedi because they didn't believe in that kind of thing. But if he's specifically looking for him, it could reason that he'll end up looking at any planet that Luke ever went to. He'll try to track that down. If he hears of Ahsoka, which maybe we'll see, he may try to track down her footsteps. Anything related to the Jedi, he's going to be looking for. So the Forest Moon of Endor is a pretty realistic guess on where they could end up. I also have a sneaking suspicion, this has nothing to do with the planet, but that this could be the end of the season. It's all banged up and he's kind of floating. And maybe we don't even get that this is the Forest Moon of Endor and Endor, or we know he's kind of trying to head there. But yeah, I think this is a pretty cool one. All right, let's keep rolling here. The next one I wanted to do has a bunch of different shots, okay? I think these are all, any of these could be Tatooine too. It's kind of like a dirty, dusty looking place with some kind of like graffiti everywhere, right? So I think this planet is the same planet as we'll see later, the graffiti, the guy that he's got hanging from the lamppost by his feet that has the more graffiti. And I think this is all happening in the same place that we see Gor Koresh, I think is what people picked up from the subtitles, where there's the Gamorreans fighting. He's the Abyssin, the guy with the one eye, that kind of, when the Baby Yoda's like in the crowd and does like the thing and ducks under when the whistlers go off. I think that's all this planet. This one is a lot of speculation, all right? I've heard Corellia, pretty good guess. Corellia has that kind of slum kind of look, beat up kind of look from Solo we saw, so it definitely could be there. I wouldn't rule out anything related to like the crime world that we've seen, the underworld. So neat planets from, you know what I mean, like lore. Nar Shaddaa and Nar Shaddaa are both in Hutt space. I don't know how much we've seen them in canon stuff. I was looking through some comics. I couldn't find anything specifically, but we do know he's going to end up on Tatooine. And if you know some of the background canon, you know Cobb Vanth is there around this time. He also has control of, I believe Borgo is what they named it, which is a Hutt baby. So maybe there's some clues there, and he follows through with it. And again, crime lords. I'm pretty sure Hutt space is a mess right now after Jabba went down and after the Battle of Jakku and everything. Because the underworld's kind of in shambles. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes there. Nar Shaddaa is the moon of Nar Shaddaa. Nar Shaddaa is more of a swampy place from what we've heard it described. This doesn't strike me as swampy. Obviously, it could be anything. Nar Shaddaa would probably be more of my guess. The stuff I pulled up, though, to take an interesting look at is maybe kind of that thing of, the simplest answer may be the right one. And it's kind of out there, but it could be Mandalore. The few scenes, so let's kind of scroll through here. So we kind of see this dusty, right, deserty looking thing. There's obviously lights in the background. There's kind of a city situation. He walks in here, right, kind of low, beat up, slummy looking thing. We got graffiti everywhere, okay? We don't know what happens after we see basically the rebels leave, the rebel crew from the cartoon leave Mandalore with Bo-Katan in charge, right? We see it a little bit in the Clone Wars, and we see it a little bit in Rebels, around the capital of Sundari. We obviously know that something happens, the Purge, the Night of a Thousand Tears with Gideon, most likely involved. So the planet could be a mess. The cities could be in shambles, right? This probably happened before Endor is what we're guessing. So I pulled up a couple quick looks at what we saw in the Clone Wars. Okay, this is from the Clone Wars again, so it'll be a cleaner look at like the city and stuff like that. This is Sundari, the capital. But they're flying in, okay, and it's definitely this deserty kind of. See how the in the trailer, there's definitely like a desert floor. It's like a dirt floor. That's what makes me think it's not someplace like maybe Corellia, more cityscape. Maybe I've heard Coruscant, which is another slummy good guess, could be in the underlevels. But the dirt background and kind of his entrance where this looks like the sky to me, I think this is outside. So again, just throwing it out there. I think it could be interesting if this was Mandalore. In shambles and like rebuilt over a couple of years whenever it happened, and rebuilt up a little bit. Oops, let me pull that back up so you can kind of see the fly-in. And you know, crime lords took over. I definitely think this could be a possibility. It'd be interesting too, because obviously he's going back home to Mandalore. Could be why he's kind of on edge, searching for maybe like a crime lord that rules Mandalore at this point, which, you know, was his, you know, adopted home.
Has called upon her friend Padme Amidala,
so we'll fly in here, and then there's kind of a look at the spaceport somewhere right around here that gets a little bit more of the outside, where if this kind of architecture was in shambles, but this kind of architecture in shambles, I mean, it's not crazy different. Again, it's a cartoon, and we're making some stretches here, so work with me, from this kind of thing, right? So I think it would be interesting. I think obviously the tie-in, very simply, is Mandalore, right? Be very interesting to see it, especially if we get some flashbacks about what happened in the Night of a Thousand Tears and the whole purge and everything like that. Be really interesting for him to go back and see what it's like now and see kind of like the crime lords taking over. I think it'd be a really interesting storyline. But this planet in general, I think, has a lot of possibilities. It could be something new. All of them could be something new, which is always exciting. I'm just trying to say, if we can find some stuff from canon that you haven't heard of, and we can give you a little information that you're like, wow, it was Nar Shaddaa, that's really cool. Just keep an eye on it. All right, so let's keep moving. Let's take one more look. It's later in the trailer. I think it's right here. Let me pull. Oh, I'm on the right thing. Okay. This is when he's got the guy kind of hanging from the lamppost by the feet. All this graffiti in here, right? I did see a couple neat things. Let me get my camera out of the way so you guys can check it out. All right, in here, there are definitely clone trooper faces. A lot of them look like they're painted over and X'd out. And obviously, it looks clone troopery to me. It could be stormtrooper. But, I mean, if this was all taken down, right? And this almost looks like Thrawn. I mean, it's got no red eyes, but it's got this blue face and what looks like a white collar. And Thrawn was in direct control of, he was in contact with Gar Saxon and them when they were in control of Mandalore. So it would be interesting. It certainly would be. All right, so let me get my cam back up. What's going on? All right. Where are we? I really wanted to go through 3, so let's take a peek here. So that was that. So again, this one, I think it's like a crime lord kind of underground kind of thing. I think it'd be real neat if we ended up in Hutt space at Nar Shaddaa or Nal Hutta, but again, Nar Shaddaa I think is a better pick. Corellia was an interesting pick, but I think Mandalore would be really interesting. All right, so let's get to the last 2. Let's go back a little bit. Sorry. I'll save Ilum for last because everybody's done stuff on that, and I'll just show you some more proof on why I agree with them. I think this is probably Tatooine, Bantha, Sand People, could be anything, right? But I'm guessing Tatooine. There's the Ilum stuff. Let's get to what we may see as Mon Cala.
Great. And Endor.
All right. So, easy pick is Mon Cala. We have tons of Quarren, and in the background here, and maybe one over here with a head wrap. I forget, maybe down here. We have Mon Calamari. All right, those are the 2 main species on Mon Cala. We've been there. We've seen it in a lot of canon stuff, a lot of cartoon, a lot of comics. It definitely fits the bill. It was a place ravaged by the Empire. And where a lot of the war a big part of the war, if you go back and read the comic, I think his name is Bar. Theron Bar or Fennec Bar or something like that. I'm mixing up with Fennec Shan, but he was basically a Padawan that escaped, and he actually took refuge on Mon Cala and helped in a way. He did some kind of shady stuff to kind of tempt Vader to come there and really lay waste to Mon Cala. But what he did was he solidified the Mon Calamari against the Empire and got them. He kind of pushed them over the edge to really take a stand and get and obviously their ships were a big part in the rebellion. So I think that's a really neat comic line. I believe that was the Darth Vader series. I'd have to maybe I can link it in the bio below for you guys if you're interested. But that all being said, could very well and makes a ton of sense to be Mon Cala. What's interesting though, and I saw a hint to this and then went digging on a Reddit thread. I believe it was Wyclef, spelled interestingly, as Reddit names typically are. They mentioned that because of the hooded figure, that they thought it wasn't Sabine and it was maybe related to this character named Verla. Verla was kind of I guess acolyte would be the best word of Bar. And she was the only one of his followers on Mon Cala at that time that was force sensitive. So that's a whole nother thing. But the point being is that she shows up in the new Star Wars 2020 comic arc. And what's really interesting is let's pull up a picture of the comic. Check this out. All right, so we got our ships right in the trailer. Looks like a dock. Got a bunch of Quarren, got a bunch of Mon Cala. Let's take a look at what this looks like. All right, very similar. All right, we even got kind of a similar ship design here to those the Spike design that he's driving later. It's super interesting, especially combined. It's mainly a water world, but it has some different. This one's called Corellia. Sorry, Serelia, and this would be kind of the wild pick. Mon Cala would be obvious, but I would lean towards Mon Cala, but I thought this was a very interesting take on it. And this fishing dock, along with the ships, mixed with the hooded figure and something I'm going to show you in a second, which really doesn't have anything to do with the planet, but kind of just along the same lines of proving that it may be Corellia. So we got the hooded figure, right? We got this dock situation with a lot of boats, a lot of even similar looking boats to our boats in the trailer. Maybe the let's move, and there's Sasha Banks, hooded figure. We got hooded figure on the dock. It's not going to be Verla, but maybe she had followers, right? So let's go back. And where is our ship picture? She disappears, and then he's on the ship, right? Okay. Big front mast, right? Kind of this square. I mean, these look similar. I mean, they're not exact. Let's not go crazy here, right? But, I mean, we got some similarities here, all right? Which I found very interesting. The last one, again, not really necessarily a planet feature, but I thought this was really interesting too. All right, these grates that she actually traps Luke in and tries to drown him by moving the water up. Okay, very, very similar and very eerily similar to the part in the trailer where Din is struggling under grates. Right about here. Let's take this back.
This is no place.
So he is underwater, under grates, right? This could be the ship. Again, work with me here, all right? But looks like the similar lighting, and obviously we got water to the water planet. And in that same comic, in the same article, in the same issue on Corellia, we have Luke being trapped under a grate with water rising, with a hooded figure. I just found it interesting. I think it's pretty cool. So my two guesses for the water planet are Mon Cala, I think, is still in the lead. I think it makes a lot of sense. But this Corellia planet kind of it's still from canon. So it still itches that it scratches that itch, right? Which I think is cool. And it's a little different. It's not just standard Mon Cala, which we've read a lot about. It's kind of a curveball with Corellia, which isn't canon, but it's a little deeper dive, right? Deeper cut. All right. Let's get on to the one everybody's talking about. Two specific shots I'm going to go over from the ice planet. I am relatively convinced that this is Ilum, along with a lot of people. All right, it's not a surprise. Reason being is in Fallen Order, we get a really good look at Ilum. We got to go there, the video game. Okay, so let me get this ready. Let's do this whole thing. All right. All right, here's the Mandalorian clip. Flying in, big ravines, right? This is from the game. There's one good shot here. Let's move it up to the better overlook shot. Okay, so we got these big ravines, ice planet, right? Very pretty, flying in. And then we have the video game that we just played. And we got ice planet. Look at these ravines. Very similar. Okay, and this isn't it, but this is just like a big part of it. Okay, very, very similar. Lots of smoke in the trailer, fog, steam, whatever you want to call it, clouds. You can get picky, I don't care. A lot of that here. Okay, very interesting. Now that alone would have given me, I would have been like, oh, that's cool. Looks like could be Ilum, right? This is like a pretty specific thing, but later in the Mandalorian trailer, I think it's at the very end. No, not at the very end. Where? Okay. This is what kind of convinced me. We're pretty convinced, obviously, that this is probably the same planet. Obviously, like anything else, you could go to 17 ice planets, and they could be called John's Snow Planet. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really matter. That could be something new, and I'd be down with that. However, I'm pretty convinced it's the same planet he's gonna go to. Ilum does make sense in a storyline way. If again he's chasing anything he can find on the Jedi, which was kind of another reason why the Forest Moon of Endor was interesting. Ilum even more so, because in a way more general context, not just Luke based. The Jedi came here a lot to get their lightsaber crystals. So this was a big Jedi place. Now, side note, interesting to go over kind of the where Ilum is at this point. It's in the unknown regions. It was basically destroyed. It was harvested by the Empire. I'll show you a little picture here, and eventually it turns into Starkiller Base. Spoilers if you haven't seen The Force Awakens. Sorry. Let's just show you this before I get into this ice thing. Pretty simple. This is what the planet looks like. This is what the planet looked like. This was before A New Hope. So as you can see, it's already starting to look like Starkiller Base, right? They completely like dug these trenches. They have they've built up this thing. I don't know if they were originally trying to go for Starkiller Base and the First Order picks it up later. So at this point, with the point in the Mandalorian, what's interesting is we really don't know if the First Order's here yet, or if they were maybe found it later. So he could be running into the First Order. Maybe that's why his ship kind of looks crashed. We'll find out. But let's wrap this up. Let's get to the point here. The other factor in this scene with the Mandalorian is look at the walls. Right? This blue crystalline ice looking stuff, right? Look at this. This isn't just rock, right? This is very clearly like this tealish blue ice rock type thing. It's not just black rock, okay? Take a look at this quick run through. We'll stop at a couple places. But look at the ice in Fallen Order. Check this out. I think my color on this screen is a little off contrast-wise, but believe me, and if this doesn't convince you, but see how this is like an ice rock kind of deal. Probably just ice, but again, work with me. But it's this teal. It's a very unique, like that's not just standard like, oh, it's rock or oh, it's ice. This is a very interesting looking bluish gray, tealish kind of picture. I'll run through a little more. They're everywhere, right? As obviously the shadows get in, it gets darker, but it's this teal color, right? It's clearly not just rock. This is probably the best shot on this screen, but see, I mean, you can see this, right? I mean, back here is like rock or some kind of structure that's like black, gray. This is this color from the trailer, right? I mean, I'm crazy, but call me crazy. That if there's a planet that they're using and they are going to go back to something that's been done in canon, I mean, this is a dead ringer, along with the ravines. But that again is it's all kind of adding up, right? But yeah, that's what we got. So to recap, real quick, I think we saw Endor, the gas giant of Endor, and the forest moon of Endor in the initial scene. I think we may have seen Mandalore and the kind of rebuilt, well, after it was torn down in the Night of Tears, the Night of 1,000 Tears, and the Purge. All speculation. And I think that's where the Gamorrean fight's happening. I think that's where you see him stroll into the city. It's got like a dirt kind of deserty kind of vibe with beat up slum kind of city look. Graffiti everywhere. I think there's a good chance that's Mandalore. We'll throw in Corellia as a possibility, and we'll throw in Nar Shaddaa as a possibility to look out for. Okay. I think we saw Mon Cala, but could also be Corellia from the comics that I showed you guys. And I think the one that I'm most confident in there, right up there with Endor, I really think that's Endor, is Ilum. And that was the final one. All right. So I really appreciate you guys hanging out and indulging in my theories. And we'll see what happens. Maybe they're all new planets. That'd be cool too. But appreciate it. So if you could hit the like, subscribe, leave some comments on your ideas, that'd be awesome. Thanks, Padawans. Later.